There are many changes that I would like to see in For Honor. Better new player experience in the way of improved resources and matchmaking, better UI so that we could see our opponents' revenge bars, map changes like the ones that happened to Overwatch this season, or a bunch of smaller improvements and bug fixes, like how you can still GB minions or get body blocked by dead minions. And I hope that all of these changes do come true and they do happen in the foreseeable future. But if I were to choose just one new feature to be added to For Honor, or just one new change, I would 100% ask Ubisoft for a functioning rank system. Now, in For Honor currently, there is technically a ranked system, but first of all, it's only for 1v1, which is fine, as in, it's okay for there to be a 1v1 ranked. I'm not against that, but it doesn't work due to a lot of issues that I will not go into right now, and that's not to make this video too long. And there isn't a 4v4 rank. There used to be, but for many reasons it failed. It was just very, very poorly tacked on as just a separate playlist, and nothing really changed except for that. There was no incentive, no rewards, nothing like that. But in season, I think it was 4 or 5, there was Dominion rank, and later on Tribute ranked for a little bit as well. Now, the reason I would choose ranked, 4v4 ranked, in a functioning 1v1 ranked system to be the one change I want is it benefits everyone. I think it would be the one single change you can make to make the game healthier on all fronts. Healthier in terms of it being easier to collect feedback. Because now you can see much more easily how players are stacked up against each other. Casual players would be in normal matchmaking, and ranked players who want to improve, who want to play better, they would be in the ranked matchmaking, and you could see much more easily, although on a small number of players, how the balance roughly is. It helps casual players because now they will not have to play against 4 stacks or duo stacks or trio stacks of competitive, or not necessarily even competitive, but just good players in their normal casual matchmaking. In season 11, which is the season we are in currently, Ubisoft has yet again managed to somehow fuck up matchmaking to the point where now you get rep zeros just about every other game. It got to the point where I was playing with Crack on stream the other day, and I just rage quit when I saw that all of my opponents were on the other team were rep zeros. I just all deferred and thanked him for the games and just went to do something else. So it helps the casual players because now they have a more calm, let's say, and more fair environment for them to play in. And it helps the good players and the mediocre players who would like to be good. Because, well, now they have a competitive environment to play in without having to maybe find other free players to make a team and sign up for a tournament, or having to wait for that one time that there are scrims in For Glory or in any other Discord. So it helps them by providing that environment with tournament rules, so only the good maps will be played, it will be single pick, perks will be off, all of these things help players adapt from a normal For Honor matchmaking type of environment to a more competitive tournament environment if they so desire. So it helps both the casuals and the competitive players, and of course it helps also Ubisoft. So that's why I think that would be the one change, the one new feature that would help the game the most. If you guys disagree, well, let me know, but I do truly believe that. Another reason I would like ranked is Ubisoft has announced spectator mode. It will be coming out late 2019, so I assume season 12. Whether it be at the beginning or in the middle of season 12, I don't know. It's not really that important, but there will be spectator mode coming out. And we will have spectator mode tournaments very, very soon, in a few weeks, depending on when you're watching this video. But there are Ubisoft-sponsored tournaments with Steel as prizes. And during those tournaments, Ubisoft will be kind of seeing how spectator mode is, perceived and how it's used, and to see if there are any more things they need to fix with the mode, let's say, and then they can ship it. That means that there will be a higher than ever interest in competitive For Honor, and there will be a higher than ever exposure to competitive For Honor. Obviously, you know, the season, what was it, season 2 or 3 1v1 tournament that I won, or the next season tournament, those, especially the first one, obviously the 1v1 tournament, there was a lot of exposure. It wasn't really the exposure that Ubisoft wants, was it? So instead what you get is you get a lot of people who have never played in tournaments who are going to sign up for these tournaments. Last I checked, which was only a few days after the tournament pages went up, there were already dozens of teams per region, per platform. And I'm sure they will go way up as we get closer to the actual tournament date. That means that there is going to be a lot of people playing and a lot of people watching streams, trying to learn how to play the game better. The problem is, if their only incentive is to play for Ubisoft-sponsored tournaments, that means that Ubisoft would have to keep sponsoring tournaments forever and ever if they ever want to have a more robust competitive scene. That means weekly or bi-weekly tournaments with eventually cash prizes, as steel will, the novelty of steel will wear off eventually, and that's not a sustainable model. Instead, I think ranked comes in here as the true incentive that should be there in the game for people to play, so they can practice for those possible Ubisoft tournaments, or maybe not the Ubisoft tournaments, maybe Ubisoft shows other tournaments, other tournament organizers, tournaments in the game, so that players know and they can sign up for those tournaments from the game directly, with like a link to Battlefy or something, right? But with this system in the game, with this good rank system in the game, you end up not having to make weekly or bi-weekly tournaments because there's already a competitive environment in the game. And so if Ubisoft, you know, does want to support the competitive scene as much as they claim they do, then maybe they can sponsor one tournament mid-season, and then at the end of the season another tournament, or maybe they can sponsor monthly tournaments or something like that. Doesn't really matter specifically for this, but basically it takes a lot of weight off of their shoulders while making the game healthier on all fronts. Helps the casual players, helps the competitive players, or just mediocre players, or medium level players. I shouldn't call them mediocre, I'm sorry. Medium level players who want to get to that next level, but they haven't really had the chance or a way to do that. And they have an incentive to play because there's those tournaments, there's spectator mode. And in a good ranked system, there's incentives within the rank system as well. Now, I will move on to the last part of the video, which I've mentioned a few times, but I haven't really dove deep into what I mean. So, incentives in ranked. There have to be incentives. There has to be a reason for me to want to play ranked besides, a shiny ranked symbol. Some games fail at that, even games that are very, very competitive. A lot of players in StarCraft, for example, when they get GM, they just kind of stop playing, because the difference between a top 200, which is what GM is in StarCraft, between a top 200 player and any next milestone you could really think of is so huge that it would take years, or at least, an additional year or two to even get to that, possibly. And there is no incentive, no reward in the middle there. Some games like FIFA, for example, they strive on those incentives. If there were no incentives, or the incentives were worse in FIFA, nobody would play their modes. Nobody would play FIFA Ultimate Team if there were no incentives to play FIFA Ultimate Team. EA Sports has mastered the fear of missing out, pretty much. But the way that FIFA does it is they have weekly rewards for 2 or 3 of their modes, like weekly modes kind of thing. 2 of them are competitive, 1 is super competitive, and there are weekly rewards. I don't want For Honor to go to any of those extremes. I don't want it to be a simple, here's a leaderboard, here's your rank, enjoy. And I also don't want them to be like, you played 10 games this week, here's your reward. Because that's not sustainable either. That's not realistic for them to do. The reason FIFA can do that is because they have so much money from releasing a yearly game. So that's not going to be possible with For Honor. At the same time, there needs to be more of an incentive so that people actually want to play. In StarCraft, people play because it's the premium 1v1 competitive experience, right? And there are other ways to enjoy StarCraft that are more casual, but if you want to be competitive, play 1v1, and the game is designed, it's built around that 1v1 experience, which not many games are these days. So that's the allure of it. But what's the allure of 4v4 ranked in For Honor? I can't really think of too many things, except for people who actually want to get better at the game just as they are right now. So the least that you can do is you can introduce a system within ranked where, first of all, of course, there's leaderboards, top 100 or whatever it would be. Of course, there's ranks, just like in any other rank system, of course, just like in 1v1 in For Honor already. But you add incentives like, for example, ranked points that you can accumulate for playing, and you get more for winning. And then you can use those points to buy ornaments, or you can use those points to buy like a really nice weapon at the end of the season, or whatever else, like a cosmetic thing for your favorite character would be. That's how Overwatch does it, where you can get enough points to get like a golden weapon for your character. So I think that's kind of the least that you could do to make ranked popular. There are additional, some easy, some more difficult on Ubisoft's part things that they could do. One is just a simple ranked order, right? Just a weekly order they could do, and they could keep it going. They wouldn't have to be a weekly order and then the week is over and then now you're just not playing. They could make it a weekly order where if the community plays enough games, you get an X amount of steel or whatever, or crates or whatever, right? Or it could be even a monthly order, and that could be their way of doing this. That could be Ubisoft's way. It could be a monthly or bi-weekly order. Whatever that would be, there would be an additional very easy to create incentive for people to play. Now, of course, there's more that they could do, but that's, I think, not realistic. I do want to stay in the realm of somewhat realism here, although I am still kind of dreaming about the rank system rather than there being any confirmation or even any rumors about it. So I guess I might as well just dream big while I'm at it. At the same time, I would like to think that I kind of know what's somewhat possible and what isn't. Now, when it comes to just how you would even queue people up or something like that, I think it's very simple. I think you would just simply have them so you can only solo queue and duo queue, and that's it. There wouldn't be separate playlists because you wouldn't have enough people for that. This is For Honor. You just have solo queue and duo queue, and you have the same MMR for both, but maybe if you're in a duo queue, your MMR gets a little bit higher because you're in a group. Now, the game would have to try its best to queue you up against a team that also has a duo stack, right? But if that's not possible, I think in For Honor it's not the biggest deal. But it would also be a pretty big advantage. But I am against making it only solo queue, because then I think people who just want to play with friends and still have somewhat of a serious experience, they wouldn't have anywhere to go, right? I think there would be a good chance of people just going back and playing 4 stacks in casual matchmaking then instead of playing ranked. I think having duo queue is the perfect kind of balance between a 4 stack, which if you only make it 4 stack, that's impossible to get games. If you make it solo queue and duo queue, I think that's fine. And yeah, you just have your ranks just as they are right now, and you have your leaderboards. I think with these incentives, with spectator mode coming out, with these tournaments sponsored by Ubisoft, they're not hosted by Ubisoft, but they are sponsored by Ubisoft. With all of these things kind of coming together at the same time, ranked works perfectly with it. And I'm really worried, and I'm really, I guess, sad to see that there has been no announcement, no mention, no tease of a ranked system coming. So that makes me think that we will not see one, at least this year. Most likely next year, probably not as well. But let me know what you think. Do you think it would be good? I think personally, as I said already, I think it would be the single change you could do that would help the game the most in terms of its health, in terms of improving the discussion, in terms of improving feedback, and in terms of getting people to play the game more at a higher level. Like I would grind ranked if there were ranked, just because I would like to get the top 1 spot on the leaderboards, even if it ultimately doesn't mean that much. So yeah, let me know what you think, and yeah, thanks for watching.